Thanks. So on the way here, my wife texted me and she said, "Good luck. You and Henry are really going to rock it." And the autocorrect changed it to rocket, like Gerald talked about. So I guess I won't criticize the autocorrect anymore. It's pretty clever. I first discovered the joy of playing music that was not written down and just making things up in my early 20s. Some guys from my geochemistry department I was in wanted to form a rock band to play at our departmental party. And a lot of the songs didn't have written music or didn't have keyboard parts, and so I just had to make up something that sounded good with what they were doing. There were times before in my life that I'd wanted to improvise or jam with other people, but I just didn't know how or feel comfortable trying. Which brings me to my main point. I don't think it's ever too early to teach a young student musician how to create their own music. I think that improvisation is a different skill than reading or memorizing music, and it has to be practiced differently. Henry and I started improvising together pretty early on because we basically couldn't keep him away from musical activities, and I was excited to start playing with him. I also play with my other two children, and sometimes we'll all get together and take turns playing, and we have what we call the Jacobs Family Band as well. I think if you introduce kids to improvisation when they're just starting out in music, that all kids can learn to create their own new music. Kids learn the rules, a lot of the rules of their culture's music by just listening, and they also learn their native language the same way. I think that music is a kind of a language, in a sense, and we teach musicians to read, write, listen to, and play it. As anyone who has studied a foreign language knows, if you practice reading, writing, taking tests, that doesn't necessarily make you able to understand spoken language or to speak. To really converse in a second language, you actually have to practice speaking, putting your own thoughts into words, even though you might feel limited by what you can say and you will make mistakes. So it is with music. Learning to play your instrument technically and expressively, and reading music doesn't translate into learning music by ear or improvising. So how do you teach a child who's just starting to play their instrument to improvise? My daughter Cecily is only 8, but I've jammed with her a few times, using only the notes that she's learned through her first couple of Suzuki violin songs. In the beginning, when we're just starting out, I use my knowledge of what the children can play to limit our choices so that I only play things that I know will sound good with what they're playing. Henry and I are going to demonstrate that now on the keyboard using only the black notes, so limiting our choices of what we can play. Thank you. As the children get more skilled, they learn to listen and adapt to what I'm doing. For example, if I get quieter or louder, they will follow. As their skills develop, I start to follow them, filling in to frame their music. Eventually, as Henry has done, they learn to listen, follow, trade off ideas with other musicians, incorporating our playing into a real conversation, what musicians call jamming. Not all adult musicians know how to do this, but many do, especially those who love popular genres of music like rock, country, and jazz. I love this style of playing, and I feel that it is a teachable skill, and that all music students can benefit from practicing it. Henry and I are going to demonstrate one of our typical jams, including what we say and don't say beforehand, and possibly during the jam. I encourage you to listen to how the music changes over time. As one person may introduce a new idea, the other person may pick up on it. The style may change from lyrical and smooth to agitated or funky. Also keep in mind that although we have done things like this before, this particular performance is spontaneous and unique. Shuck your E. Good. Wrap it up, Henry, because we're out of time. All right, come on, buddy. Thank you. So what if we teach our young music students to improvise from day one? We might end up with more confident, creative adults who are good listeners, better classical players, and who are not shy about public speaking. Who knows? If nothing else, we'll be able to create that special magic that comes from spontaneous, shared creation. Thank you.